All right, so hi, good evening, artists. Welcome to our class, LMS BIP AK3B. Again, for this evening, I'll be your teacher, Miss Cha. All right, from Alaska English. Before we proceed to the lesson, can I ask, how are you? Miklen, how are you tonight? Atis?
I'm fine, thank you.
All right, that's good to know. Don't mute your microphone so you won't forget. Okay? Anyway, moving into our lesson for this evening, we are going to continue the use to review the topic, which is the use of some and any. If you could still remember, teacher explain when do we use were and where do we use some and when do we use any, right? So again, some and any are both used, all right, for plural, countable, and uncountable nouns. Okay, so konyu, we use them in plural form. But the use of some and any is quite different, right? We use some to indicate sentences that are in affirmative or passive state. Okay? For example, there were some cars, there were some apples, all right? So affirmative or passive. So again, are is for the present tense and were for the past tense. All right? On the other hand, if we are referring to the use of any, we use any for the negative state, negative sentence, or also called as negation. So in here, it becomes aren't, past tense, weren't. Okay. And then magic word there is not. Okay, in negation. And also in any, the last pattern, we use this for interrogative or question pattern. All right. So with this one, how can you make a sentence for the following? All right, kindly read. There were
There was some car on sofa.
some konyo,
Some car on sofa.
some cars on the sofa. There weren't any
Any dog next to the sofa.
next to the sofa. All right. How can you make sentence in here? Is it there were or there was?
There was.
All right, very good. There was what? There was, what do you call this?
Ball.
There was a ball where?
On the chair.
Very good. But,
But
how about this? There wasn't.
there wasn't any cat.
With this one, it's only one. There wasn't a cat.
A cat.
Where? Un, under
Under chair.
under the chair. Roy, how about in here? What can you see in the bookshelf? What can you see on the bookshelf? There. How about this one? Was or were? How many? Dwinyat, konyo? Was or were? There was or there were? There were some
There was some
glasses.
glasses.
Oh, where? Where?
Mm,
In
in
mm, in the bookshelf. That's what I've said.
the
Bookshelf.
bookshelf.
All right. How about this? There were, make a
There
sentence.
were books
There were some books. Hi, Konyo. There were some books
in the
mm, in the bookshelf.
mm, in the bookshelf.
Bookshelf or some other, they call that bookcase, but on your bookshelf. All right. How about in this one? How about what we had on the table? What are the things on the table? How can you make a sentence for this? Is it there was a or there were some? How can you make a sentence for this one?
Mm, is pencil.
This one? What's that?
Pencil.
Pens.
Pen.
Was or were? There was a or there were some? How can you make a sentence?
Mm,
There was a indicating duinyat. There were some
there was some.
referring into the plural form. What are you going to use with the pens? There was a or there were some? Ates.
Mm,
Remember, maybe don't get confused. The topic that we're doing is the use of were and weren't, right? Or was and were, because our lesson is about the simple past, right? Is it kwakudon, right? That's why we are using were and was. The question is, what are you going to use with this? There was or there were? How many pens are there? Otis. Bao nhiêu?
two.
Two. So you're going to use there were
There was some.
Roy. There were some pens where?
Pen on the table.
Roy. How about this? The next one. You're doing great. Oh, how about this? You need to count so you won't get confused. How about this?
Mm, is mm,
Mm.
is
How many?
two.
How many erasers are there?
Three.
What are you going to use? There was a or there were some?
There was some erase
Roy.
on
Erasers?
the table.
Next, how many pencil case are there?
Uh,
How many pencil case are there?
One, two, three.
Bao Nhu, how many pencil case are there?
6.
Pencil case.
1.
1. What are you going to use? There was or there were?
There was.
Make a sentence. There was a
Was a pencil
case.
case on the table.
Roy, how about this one? What can you say about this?
Mhm.
There was or there were?
Mhm.
Balo, backpacks.
Backpacks.
What are you going to use? There was or there were? How many? How many backpacks? 1, 2. Meaning plural. Konyu, you're going to use sushi. I mean, Otis. Otis, is it okay for you to sit properly? Because I don't know if you're listening to me or not. All I can see is the tip of your hair. Can you show your face to me? Kindly fix your camera. Okay. Now, my question is, fix your camera. Because you look like this. How can I even know if you're listening? What about we teach each other and I'm like this? Mm. Fix your camera. Show your face. Like that. Now, I have here backpack. So what are we going to use? Was or were? You said we have two. So meaning, hi, that is plural form. We say there were
There was some uh,
backpacks.
backpacks.
All right. How many trains are there?
There was some chairs.
Preposition. Preposition.
Mm,
An
on the table session
under the table.
and the table.
Again, there were some trains under the table.
And some train on the table.
Under.
And
All right. How about this one? How about moving into here? How many rulers are there? How many rulers are there? Otis, how many rulers are there? How many rulers are there? Bao, how can you make a sentence? How many? Bao, how many rulers are there?
2.
2. Is that was or were?
They were.
Very good. There were some
There was some ruler
rulers where?
on the
In
in the box.
in the box. Okay. If you don't know, you could just simply say, Teacher, I don't know. Teacher, can you guide me? It's okay. All right. Because it seems like I don't know if you don't know the answer or you're not listening. So I'm getting confused. That's why I keep on asking you. How about this? How many pencils are there?
3.
All right. So what are you going to use? Was or were?
Uh,
Mm.
were.
All right. There were, make a
There
sentence.
were some
Pencils.
pencils in the box.
All right. Okay. Also, if you could still remember, all right, I was able to send this to mommy. All right. Maybe you weren't able to review this one. I sent to mommy this one, the preposition of place, right? This one, the in. What are the preposition of place? What are the examples? Can you read it for me?
In,
Mm,
on, behind,
mm.
behind, between, in front of, next to, under.
All right, so that's it for that one. Now, moving into here, what we have next. All right. How can you complete the sentence? What is the correct answer?
Mm,
It says there weren't. So what are we going to use? Some or any?
some,
Weren't. Negative.
any,
Mm. Use your, read your sentence. There weren't
they weren't any
scissors.
on the table.
All right. Now, it says that the answer is some. What are we going to use? Were or weren't?
Mm, wearing,
There.
gua,
Read your sentence. There were
from a magazine,
magazines.
magazine on the chair.
All right. How about this? There were, were. What are we going to use? Some or any?
Uh,
Mm. There were some or any?
Sam,
Mm. Read your sentence.
poster on the wall.
All right. How about this? We have any. What are you going to use?
Hmm.
There. Any. When do we use any? Oh, remember I told you we use some. Remember this pattern. Affirmative or positive. The simple sentence, the original one, right? Any. All right. Here.
Hmm.
Any, on the other hand, any is used for any word that is negative, meaning it has the word not, or also called as negation. The other is the use of question word or interrogative. Now, any. What are you going to use? What does it says? Word with not. So, question and
Need
negation.
to stay on the chair.
There weren't any glue sticks on the chair. Okay, how about number 5? We have there weren't. What is going to be the answer? There weren't
Mm. A green.
some or any.
Hmm.
Weren't
Any.
any. Very good. Any, how do you read this one? There weren't any. You say dictionaries.
Dictionary on the bookshelf.
Again, there weren't any dictionaries
This the gray
on the.
on the bookshelf.
All right. How about this one? We have the word some. What are we going to use? Were or weren't?
Hmm.
We use some for facetive sentences or affirmative state.
Is, mm,
What are you going to use? Were or weren't?
um, mm, the
Mm.
way.
All right. Can you read your sentence?
Way some
There were, or
they
there
were
were some
some
calculators
calculator
on.
on the desk.
All right. Okay. So how about this one? Moving into this. Were there.
Mm,
What are you going to use? Some or any? Some or any? When do we use some? When do we use any? Hmm? For the fifth time, some and any. Okay, we use some for positive sentences. Any, we use it for negative and question form. Now, we are using the question form, meaning we are going to use what? Some or any.
mm, mm,
Question form, meaning we're going to use
way the
where there.
where there
Some or any? What do you think? Were there question form? Were there any
any
pencil sharpeners
pencil sharpener?
on the desk? Okay,
Yes.
what's your answer? Yes. Again, looking for your for the beginning of the question. Yes, there. Atis. Yes,
Yes.
there.
There and there. Mm.
Can you read it for me?
Yes.
Take a look. Remember the clue that I've taught you? Yes, there were. You just copy the pattern on the question, right? How about in here? How can you make a question for number 2? Hmm. Posters. All right, meaning we're going to use plural form. All right, we're going to use were, right? Were there, how can you make a question? Were there any because this is question, right? Were there any posters on the wall Were there any poster on the wall? Yes or no? It says no. How will you respond? No, there were, or no, there weren't. How will you respond? It's a no. Is it no, there were, or no, there weren't? What is the correct answer, Otis? No, there.
They wasn't.
Yeah, negative. That's your clue. The word no. It indicates negation. Negative. No, there weren't. Oh, can you try? How can you make a question for picture number 3, please? Can you give it a try? Were there any? You just copy the pattern. Mm. Can you make a sentence, a question for me, interrogative form? Were there any? Make a question, please. Were there any calculators?
Calculator.
Oh, I think we're going to repeat this lesson. All right, say it again. Were there any calculators on the desk? Oh, the answer is yes. What comes next? Yes, there were, or yes, there weren't. What is the correct answer? Ates. Yes, there were, or yes, there weren't.
Yes, the mm,
Yes, there.
the worried.
Yes, there were. Yes, there
Yes,
were.
they
Right? We just say weren't, not if it's a no. Right? Mm. How about number 4? How can you make a sentence? A question form. Can you make a question for me? Were there were there any were there any scissors? How can you complete the question? Were there any scissors? Preposition
mm,
on the
on the
sofa, right? What is the answer? It says yes. What comes next? Yes, there were, or yes, there weren't. Yes, there.
mm,
Yes, there were.
yes,
Okay.
there were.
How about in number 5? How can you make a question? Question form.
Uh,
Were there you just follow the pattern, Otis. We already have a pattern on top. How can you read that one?
were there any
Were there any
on the
were there any magazines?
magazine
Preposition of
on,
place.
On the bed.
All right. What is the answer?
Mm,
Yes. Oh, the answer is yes. What comes next? Yes.
yes. Mm,
Yes, there.
yes. The
Here, you just copy the beginning of the question. Yes, there were. How about the last one? How can you make a question? Make a question. Were there any? Were there any glue sticks? Complete the question. Were there any glue sticks on
on,
the chair?
on the chair.
The answer is no, meaning it's negative. So what would be our answer? No, negative form. Otis negative form right there. We are adding not to the end of the phrase. So we say no. Uh Otis, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Is it difficult? Ko? Okay, don't worry. We are going to play a game next time, okay? But I want you to try to comprehend with me, okay? Teacher is going to guide you. Don't worry, we're going to repeat this topic next meeting. Just remember, as what I've said, we just use weren't when we are referring to no. So the answer here is no. What are you going to put? No, there. Here, you just copied this one already. I keep on circling this one. How do you read that, Otis? Can you read it for me?
Yes.
How do you read that answer, please? No. How do you
No.
read?
Mm,
No, there.
there.
There. There what? No, there.
No, they weren't.
Roy, that's the only thing I'm waiting. No, there weren't. Okay? So I'll be working with my TA tonight. I'll be asking him to help me out with the translation. But with this, we're going to review this next meeting, okay? I do understand that sometimes it's difficult, but with this one, don't worry. As we review it for next meeting, I'll make sure that you understand it, and I'm going to send supplementing activities, all right, that you can practice with your brother, all right? Okay, Roy, Otis.
Yes.
All right. So sadly, all right, teacher over time a little. All right. So we are going to repeat this topic. I'll be sending you lessons so you can review in advance for the review of this topic next meeting. Okay? All
Yes.
right. So sadly, it's time for me to say goodbye. Your homework is again the same thing. You're going to review the use of some and any. All right? Okay? All right, Roy? Okay. All right, so that's gonna be for this evening. Tambiet and have a good night. Goodbye, Otis. See you again.
Goodbye, teacher.